Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's talk about that feeling. Your heart starts pounding when you see a crazy-looking graph on a test, right? Well, this one's for you. Today, we're going to flip that anxiety on its head. We're turning it into a high-scoring skill by giving you a simple, powerful map to handle any data question they throw at you. So here's the game plan. We're going to start by calling out the real problem, what I call data panic. Then, we'll build our strategy from the ground up, starting with how to read the map of any chart. After that, we'll fill up your calculation toolkit. I'll share some pro tips and common traps to watch out for, and then we'll put it all to the test on some seriously complex charts. Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll see data as your secret weapon, your superpower. All right, let's get right into it. We're kicking things off with a feeling I'm pretty sure a lot of you know all too well, especially when that clock is ticking down. So you flip the page on a test, and bam, there it is. A super complicated graph, maybe it's got a bunch of lines or stacked bars, and your mind just goes blank. Sound familiar? Yep, you are definitely not alone. And that moment, that initial freeze-up, that's exactly what we're going to fix today. And this right here from a user on the GregMatt forums just nails it. They're saying, look, I can get the right answer eventually, but that's the whole problem, isn't it? It's not just about getting it right, it's about getting it right fast. When you're under pressure, speed is everything. It's what separates a decent score from an amazing one. So how do we do it? How do we beat that panic and get faster? It all starts with one simple, totally non-negotiable first step. For every single graph you see, from here on out, you have to read the map before you do anything else. Seriously, don't even think about the question yet. Think about it, right? Every graph is a map. You wouldn't just parachute into a new city and start running without looking at a map first. So first thing, look at the title. What's this whole thing about? Then check your axes, the X and the Y. What are we actually comparing here? Step 3, and this is a big one, look at the scale and the units. Are we talking about $5 or 5 times $1 million? Huge difference. And finally, look at the legend. That tells you what all the different colors or lines mean. This whole process takes, maybe 10 seconds, but it can save you minutes of painful confusion. And I'm going to say it again because it's that important. That point about the scale, that's where most people mess up. It's the #1 trap. You do all this hard math and get an answer of, say, 88. But if the scale says in millions, your answer is completely wrong. Forgetting to check the units is literally the easiest way to give away points you should have earned. All right, so you've read your map, you know what you're looking at. Now you need the right tools to actually do something with it. The good news is most of these data questions really just boil down to a handful of core calculations. So let's build out that toolkit right now. First up, the absolute powerhouse of your toolkit, percentage change. You're going to see this one all the time because it's the best way to talk about how much something grew or shrank. And it's actually super simple. All you do is find the difference, the new number minus the old one. Then you just divide that difference by the original number you started with. That's it. It tells you not just that it changed, but it gives you a feel for how big of a deal that change really was. And look at how this plays out in the real world. Saying measles cases went from 375 to over 1,200, yeah, that sounds bad. But when you say it was a 240% increase, whoa, now that number tells a story. It instantly gives you the scale of the problem. That's what this is all about, telling a story with the data. Okay, tool number 2, averages. We all know the formula, right? Add them up, divide by how many there are. Simple. But when you're staring at a list of numbers with decimals, like 7.8, 4.2, 9.1, and that clock is ticking, trying to add those up perfectly is just asking for trouble. It's a total recipe for a silly mistake. So I've got a trick for you that avoids that decimal mess completely. You're gonna love this one. It's the decimal removal trick, and it is a game changer for speed. So instead of trying to add 4.9 and 6.3 under pressure, just pretend the decimals aren't there. Just add 49 and 63. You do all the math with nice, clean, whole numbers, and then only at the very, very end do you pop that decimal point back in. So much faster, so much less room for error. And the last core tool for our kit is ratios. Now, the wording on these questions can sometimes sound really formal and scary, but don't let it fool you. 9 times out of 10, when a question asks something like, production in year A was how many times the production in year B, it's just a fancy way of telling you to do one thing: divide A by B. That's it. It's just a division problem in disguise. Okay, so you've got your map, you've got your tools. Now it's time to talk strategy. This is the fun part. This is where you get a real edge. We're going to cover some pro-level shortcuts to make you faster, and, just as important, we're going to look at the most common traps that test makers love to set. Think of these 3 shortcuts as your secret weapons against the clock. First one, get good at approximating. Be smart lazy. Don't calculate 498 divided by 102. Round it to 500 divided by 100. Boom! It gets you in the ballpark and helps you kill off wrong answers immediately. Second, use your eyes. Before you even pick up your pencil, just look at the chart. You can often visually estimate and see that, hey, 2 of these answer choices are just impossible. And third, use the answers they give you. Sometimes the fastest way to the right answer is to work backward from the options. It can be a huge time saver. Okay, now for the dark side, the traps. Test makers put these in specifically to see if you're really paying attention or just rushing. Here's a classic one, a graph that shows a percentage hike. You might see the bars getting smaller and think, oh, the price is falling. No, wrong. The price is still going up. It's just that the increase is getting smaller. The price never actually went down. That's a super common trick question, and it gets people all the time. All right, time for the final boss. Let's put everything we've just talked about to the test. We're going to tackle one of the charts that tends to freak people out the most, the stacked bar graph. So when you see something like this, just jam-packed with different colors and segments, your first instinct might be to panic, but don't. Just take a deep breath and remember what we've been saying. You have the tools, you know how to read the map, you can absolutely break this down one little piece at a time. Here's the secret to stacked bars. Unless the question specifically asks for the total, you have to ignore the total height of the bar. That's not what you're looking for. To figure out the value of just one of those little colored segments, all you have to do is some super simple subtraction. Just find the number where the segment ends and subtract the number where it starts. That's the whole trick. And you can see exactly how it works right here. For that railways exam back in 2015, the segment ends at 38 on the scale and it starts at 20. So what's the math? Just 38 minus 20. The actual value is 18 lakh. See? What looked like a crazy complex chart a minute ago is now just basic subtraction. It really is that simple. So there you have it. We've gone from that initial moment of panic to having a full-blown strategy. We've got our toolkit, we know what traps to look out for. Let's just wrap this all up with one final thought about what this is all really about. And this quote really says it all. This isn't just about math problems. You're not just a calculator crunching numbers. What you're actually learning is a way more valuable skill. You're learning how to read the story the data is telling. You're learning to spot the patterns and see the trends that are hiding just beneath the surface. So now you have the framework, you have the tools. And remember, this is way bigger than just one exam. You're building a genuine superpower for a world that is drowning in data. So my question to you is, what story are you going to uncover? Go out there, read the maps, use your tools, and start finding them. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.